Hello and welcome to episode 92 of Bits and Pieces. It was not planned this way, but the World Cup has begun on week 92 of Bits and Pieces because 92 में भी ऐसी हुआ था एक World Cup हुआ था उस साल में भी. Please ignore my bad Hindi because that's not going to get better. How many other episodes we do? The tagline for this World Cup is "It takes one day." It takes one day cricket to heights that we never knew that cricket could go to before. It takes one day to book tickets and one more day to collect physical tickets at the ground. It takes one day to open Canva and create two generic icons and make them your World Cup icons and give them generically bullshit names like Blaze and Tonk, Blaze and Tonk. It takes one day to ruin years and years of love and fandom that cricket loving fans have built over their lifetimes. We have seen all that happen in the last 5 days as the World Cup 2023 has gotten underway. And we have had a chance now to see 5 games and all 10 teams that are participating in this global event display their wares for us. This is Sunday, October. What is the date today? This is Sunday, October 8th, 2023. And we're recording this soon after India versus Australia, which was the 5th game of this World Cup. And we are back on Bits and Pieces to discuss everything that's happening in cricket. And this one is largely going to focus on the first 5 games of the One Day World Cup. As you can see, I have not really planned my intro too well, much like this World Cup itself. As Tony Sebastian pointed out to me a few minutes back, the World Cup itself did not have an opening ceremony. So why does episode 92 of Bits and Pieces need to have one? So welcoming the panel without proper intros this time, we have Tony, Max, Prashant, Iman Pande, who is making his debut on Bits and Pieces, and myself, Nitin Sundar, to bring you the jollies this week. I'm going to throw it straight at Tony. Early thoughts after 5 games of the World Cup. How are you loving this World Up, Tony, given that New Zealand, your favorite team, is sitting on top of the points table after the opening exchanges?
It is amazing. I think, was it last week or the week before? We had some predictions going around, and I had mentioned that it would be an upset if New Zealand qualify for the semis, and England are definitely making the semis. that table has turned. The other prediction that I had made was Shubman Gill is going to be the top scorer, and also in our little league, I had mentioned that he'll be the player of the tournament. Well, he's out with dengue, not dengue. That is the highlight of the week. How to pronounce dengue. This is what Bits and Pieces is giving you in episode 92. But yeah, I mean, at least South Africa are doing well. So they are next up for my jinx. But yeah, good start to the week.
Yeah, it has been a week where mosquitoes have played a part in the fates of the Indian cricket team. One mosquito has taken Shubman Gill out of action. Another Mambala mosquito has made it into the team, which is, of course,
Ravichandran. Do you think this mosquito fell into Shubman Gill's thirst trap? Is that what happened?
I'm getting weirdly remembering Venus flytrap and other carnivorous plants in this process. We predicted that Shubman Gill will make 3,000 runs this year. It's one of the side effects of dengue or dengue. Many visits to
dengue.
Is one of the side effects frequent visits to the bathroom, because that's one way in which Shubman Gill can get 3,000 runs this year.
Yeah, well, no, but okay. Dengue famously rhymes with fungi.
Yeah. Which... We will get there. Organisms of different sizes are wreaking havoc during this World Cup. Mosquitoes, fungus, and many other things. Jarvo number, what is his shirt name? Jarvo 69. Is that his shirt name?
Is 69.
One of the creatures who is wreaking havoc at the World Cup. Hello, Max. How are you doing?
Jarvo reminds me of that saying. I think it's a t-shirt line which says, "Don't disrespect bacteria. It is the only culture some people have." I don't know why Jarvo is still a thing. What a waste of a human.
Jarvo is, of course, the pitch invader who kept running into the ground in that famous test series which India won 2-1 in England a few years back.
Shaskol, greater than.
Yeah. It is one of the many wonders of this World Cup that knowledgeable fans who are very keenly want to watch the World Cup are unable to get tickets. But people like Jarvo, who have been banned across grounds in various parts of the world, are still able to get in, and not just get into the stadium, but get into the playing area itself. But we will get into the organizing shenanigans once again on this episode. But before that, quickly bringing in our debutant, Iman Pande from Singapore. How are you doing, Iman? And how have you enjoyed this World Cup so far?
Yeah, it's been a great evening tonight. The thing which I wanted to, continue was this discussion around Jarvo that you just started, Kenit too, which is this podcast is this the place where you're talking about it for the first time, or did you speak about it already on Twitter?
Hey.
That's okay.
Yeah.
इतना इन जोक तो मारा है तो किसी को समझ नहीं आएगा ये पॉडकास्ट पैनल के भी समझ नहीं आ रहा है क्या बोल रहा है listeners बाद में
Nitin and I got it.
as
Okay.
Cart always said,
But,
audience of two reached.
Imanji, you have to explain to our listeners what
Yeah.
Nitin Sundar has been doing on Twitter and on the group.
Yeah. So generally, when I open up my Twitter, right, it will have 10. My top 10 posts would be from Mr. Nitin Sundar. It is either putting needle in banana in Jaisa or BCCI. It will come and do needle in banana with that guy. Even if that person is a bot, it's fine. He'll still go ahead and rampantly put needle in banana. So this Jarvo thing is obviously linked with BCCI and not doing their job with tickets.
Yes,
so I just wanted to be sure that is this podcast the first place where he's talking about this Jarvo, this guy, or has he already done it on Twitter? Going back to New Zealand.
By the way, you might also want to explain what needle in banana is, because our listeners right now are wondering what are these new voodoo concepts that these fellows are talking about.
Yeah.
You also put needle and banana into Jaisa. I mean, just the visual imagery that invokes might, lead to many subscriptions or the opposite of it to this podcast.
Yeah. So needle and banana, I think this term was coined by our good friend Mohan Krishnamurthy, if I'm not wrong. Like it is basically an equivalent of what we call as doing ungli in Hindi, or figuring out ways to go ahead and make someone really angry. So that's really the needle and banana term that we use typically for when somebody gets completely unglified by somebody else. So yeah, so Nitin Sundar has generally taken up the mantle of doing this needle and banana to anything linked to a Sanghi. So yeah, so Nitin, on that topic around, I wanted to go back to New Zealand because then it goes to what Tony was speaking about, because this is New Zealand happens to be his second favorite team when there are two teams playing. So yeah. So yeah, by the way, that also came up as my second post now, the moment I opened up Twitter now, because Tony was very clear that New Zealand is my second best team when two teams are playing. But I honestly think New Zealand this time, they are going to create a massive upset. And I really fear that they are the ones who could potentially defeat India from not winning the World Cup. Given the team and the form that they are in. We can take it forward from there, but honestly, their team is super strong. Like all their sides are completely solved for in some form or the other. They have a replacement for every person in the team. I know it is not 22, but still 15, right? It still works. Again, Rachin Ravindra becomes a batter. He's a bowler. Someday he might turn up as a wicketkeeper. You never know. That's how this team has the potential. So it's a crazy team, and I feel New Zealand would really cause an upset this World Cup.
Yeah,
I have three things
Iman,
to say.
like Hazelwood's first spell today, trying to finish off the match before it gets started itself. He has yet to introduce two panelists, Nitin.
Yeah. So Hazelwood is the correct reference. As before you joined Tony, I was pointing out, Iman is the Hazelwood of Bits and Pieces, because he will only show up for ICC tournaments on this podcast. Until ICC, we've been asking Iman to join this podcast forever. He was like, you please manage with Marcus Stoinis as your opening bowler. I will come during the World Cup. Finally, for episode 92, mein, yahi hua tha. But I have a couple of questions before introducing, or rather, before bringing in the remaining panelists who are about to fall asleep. I have a couple of points for you, Iman. First, you need more people to follow on Twitter. Twitter is not Facebook. You can follow people you don't know also, by the way, in case you don't know. Boomer uncle, this fellow. He's following 5 people on this podcast. That's it. So obviously you don't see 5. That's number 1. Number 2,
and BNP_cricket, which I think all our listeners should also follow.
Yes, please. What a subtle plug. This is called needle and banana plug. But all this talk about needle and banana, I want to make it very clear, as people who follow me on Twitter will know, I am a proud Indian who has been tweeting only glorious stuff about this World Cup and how wonderfully it has been organized. I don't know what Iman is talking about. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And lastly, he keeps saying that New Zealand is going to create upsets. Maybe this is how Shubman Gill is going to get those 3,000 runs, like some upsets created by New Zealand. Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay, Prashant, who is bringing...
Finally, Nitin's verbal diarrhea is over, it seems. Even as Shubman Gill is running to the bathroom.
I'm just starting. Welcoming Prashant into this podcast, who is famously a member of the knowledgeable Chennai cricket crowd, but even more famously did not go to watch the India versus Australia game, which was played in front of empty stands or semi-empty stands, which is very unusual to see in Chepauk. Prashant, how's the mood? How's the atmosphere? How's the sea breeze in Chennai after this wonderful game?
I have no idea. I wasn't at the ground, but
sea breeze is everywhere.
First, clarify if this is because Nitin Sundar has been asking you to vote with your feet.
No.
Is this like a voting with the feet thing?
No. I just didn't work out today. Hopefully, you'll get to watch. I think the South Africa Pakistan game, which is something I'm really looking forward to, because I really don't know when I can watch Pakistan play again in India. So it's a game that I really do want to watch. It's a team that I really want to watch. But today's game was a good game, actually. I mean, even though the scoreboard at the end suggests that it wasn't much of a contest, anyone who saw it would tell you otherwise. I mean, I think it kind of got decided an hour before the end, maybe 45 minutes before the end. But until then, it was quite keenly contested, and I'm sure everyone on the ground had a great time.
Kind of got decided 45 minutes before the end. Kind of got decided 45 minutes before the end is pretty much how BCCI decides to sell tickets for the matches in this World Cup. 45 minutes before games end, tickets go up on sale.
Hashtag needle banana. Hashtag needle banana.
Bringing in our Detroit correspondent, Max Da Vinci, who has, we were talking about voting with our feet. Max, before coming on this podcast, was going for dance classes. So tell us about the delicate balance that you are maintaining, Max, balancing all the various things in your life, including dance classes, below TV, and putting needle and banana on bits and pieces. How are you catching this World Cup in a very odd time zone?
Yeah, so this has been unlike the IPL, at least it starts at like 6:30 in the morning for me. These games have been starting at like 4 or something, and it's kind of been pretty crazy. Also, plus the fact that you have to play fantasy cricket makes it impossible to wake up for a toss and see who is in the team, and if Shubman is playing or Ishant is or Ish is playing, and so. But it's been a really interesting week. A couple of results that you would have not thought would have gone a certain way. But yeah, and that's why we love these tournaments, right? And except for maybe that one game, I think all the games I enjoyed a lot.
Which game you didn't enjoy, huh?
That Delhi, whatever was happening.
Oh. Your favorite South Africa, you're not enjoying, huh?
No, I know when a team scores 400. And then another team scores again another 300. It's like, what are we even doing at this point? Which is why I go back to what Prashant was saying. Like today's game, even though if you look at the scorecard, it's 400 runs have been scored in the day. It felt a lot. There were a lot more moments where you felt that the game was in the balance.
Yeah.
Until both Virat and KL got to their 50s. But until then, anything could have happened. You always thought that, okay, you know what? Zampa gets a couple, and then now Ash has to defend, has to take up 100 runs along with Jad. So it was always there. But I think, and this is where, these guys are masters of games like these. Anything that's a 250, 270 score, these guys are masters at it. And 200 was nothing.
Amazing. No, yeah. So
क्या था अमेजिंग में? ठीक है, आप क्या अमेजिंग लगा आपको नितिन? क्यों बोला आपने अमेजिंग?
मेरे को वो पूरा एनालिसिस बहुत अमेजिंग लगा यार, क्योंकि वो 100 इज नथिंग, 0 for 3 में आके वो खेल रहा है। तो जॉश हेजलवुड, तू तो बॉलिंग कर रहा था उस समय, तो अनप्लेएबल डिलीवरी, तो मैक्स ने बोल दिया ये क्या है, बकवास है। तो
I
वो
wanted to, I just wanted to do NIB time में,
हाँ
लेकिन
समझ गया,
NIB करना
समझ
जरूरी
गया,
है।
ये सब एडिट में नहीं आएगा।
But you know what this whole World Cup feels like? It's like one of those early forced arranged marriages that parents
Exactly.
keep asking you to have. No, they're like, "Arey, what love marriage and all? Get married, then the love will come." Like we are 1 week into this damn World Cup,
No, but
hoping to fall in love.
no,
with
but
it,
one
like-
second, Tony, please clarify what you mean by one of those arranged marriages.
The marriage that turned up. Like, no, but you know what I mean, right? Like they're basically like, get into the damn thing. You'll fall in love at some point. Like something will happen. Like all of this love and all is overrated. Like it's okay. Like do some adjustment. You can't get everything in life. Like what is it? Seema Taparia or whoever says, no, like thoda adjustment karna chahiye. We've been doing all that.
Yeah,
सब कुछ तो नहीं मिलेगा.
हाँ, सब कुछ तो नहीं मिलेगा, पर कुछ तो मिलना चाहिए. Like we've been hoping to fall in love with the World Cup for a long time. It hasn't happened yet.
Chennai managed well today. They had 30,000 people on the ground. But क्या करे, बाकी 30,000 तो knowledge लेके पहुंचा था ना, तो 60,000
अरे
लोग साथ में मिला
those
के।
30,000 are Ashna's YouTube subscribers. Give like ticket to.
And knowledgeable bits and pieces panelists. Let us also not forget that 3 of our own brethren, Tariq Laskar, Samir Mohan, and Vipul Sporty Baba were at the ground today enjoying this game. So these are the
plus three more.
कौन
उन लोग का नॉलेज यार साथ में भी लेके गया होगा ना, तभी तो बड़ा वो सीट।
नॉलेज के लिए एक चेयर,
हाँ एक चेयर रखा था, वो जैसा रखा था उसके लिए।
So see, one thing about World Cups, right, is that generally fans like us go in with a lot of hype, but then the World Cup begins and you see that there are neutral games, there are minnow games where the atmosphere is not there, you have one-sided results. This happens every time. It has happened this time also, except the games featuring big teams also they've had a very strange vibe. Like we mentioned at the top, no opening ceremony for the opening game. The defending champions, against the losing finalists from last time. First of all, defending champions only refused to show up. They said, don't call us defending champions, we don't like it. They came and played in Ahmedabad in front of a 120,000 or 140,000 capacity stadium. Nobody knows, because two ends have two different capacities marked. And nobody was there to watch the game. And literally,
and it has never been filled to capacity, so you can never say what the capacity is.
Anyway, yeah, that also is there. It is like asymptotic capacity uska. So as I don't know, too much of math for this podcast. So late in the night, especially coming from my mouth. But anyway,
कोई नहीं, चलने दो, चलने दो.
That counts. See, asymptote that counts. Okay.
It is the asymptote that counts. But literally, also England did not show up for that game and got plastered by New Zealand. And then you had the second game where Pakistan did a Pakistan 40 for 3 against Netherlands, and then got hammered by their batsmen as well, before managing to somehow still win by 81 runs, which is again the most Pakistan thing to do. Then we went to our favorite ground, Dharamshala, where there was no outfield as expected. There was fungus among us. There was no grass. There was fungus. There was sand. There was Mujibur Rahman, who nearly broke his leg, tried to save the ball. And now we don't know whether the rest of the games in Dharamshala will happen in Dharamshala or Indore or somewhere else. And then, just as you thought everything was going to pot, you had 2 games at big centers. You had South Africa versus Sri Lanka at Kotla, and of course India versus Australia at Chepauk. 2 games that have been very, very much like chalk and cheese. I know Max said he didn't quite enjoy South Africa versus Sri Lanka. Max, once you say you don't like it, if a team scores 400, you're automatically saying you didn't like 434 versus 438, which is, according to many, the greatest one-dayer ever played. So that's there. That was, firstly, forget the scores in that game between South Africa and Sri Lanka. I think the quality of the venue was surprisingly spanking, right? You didn't expect Kotla to have like decent ingress and outgress for audience, free water, good toilets, etc. But lots of good feedback around how that game was organized. I think that was the first big surprise of the World Cup for me.
And no Pan Parag.
No Pan Parag stands. Yeah, the sand actually looked nice. like a good
This-
parking
I
lot.
mean-
Mercedes parking lot jaisa laga is bar.
Unfortunately, this is an audio podcast, but that whole Delhi match ended up making you go.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, but one good thing that has happened this first week has been the prescience of captains, right? I think this has already been pointed out by several people, either on the group or on Twitter. Joss Butler was asked in the press conference, what do you feel as the defending champions? And he's like, why are you calling us defending champions? We are not defending anything. We are attacking champions. And then, like at the toss, he again repeated when Ravi Shastri asked, saying we are not defending anything, and promptly went on to lose the first match after setting a total against New Zealand, which they couldn't defend. And then came the India match where
No, but before
Captain
that, Butler was asked to explain what his team was doing, and he failed to defend his bowlers also. So he was continuing to not be defended. But yeah, go on.
Yeah. And then Rohit Sharma, who had previously said that I want the team to prepare for 10 for 3 kind of situations, gave them exactly that, right? So yeah, it has been a very, very prescient World Cup. So we have to dig up what other captains have said, including
Yeah,
Sheffield or
Babu.
Naveem or Litton or whoever it was. Yeah.
Liton.
yeah, Rohit for that matter, I didn't think he turned up today. वो आया ही नहीं. वो रह गया बॉम्बे में. वो कल मैगी खाया होगा. More often, most likely.
क्या है? क्या
Yeah,
बना?
वो हाँ, seriously, boss, वो आया ही नहीं. Where was Rohit today? Like you tell me the entire match. That guy dropped everything that came his way, and then the only thing he was
So
doing.
you're saying only his knowledge came and he was like sitting in Bombay. Like only
उसका
his
वो भी
knowledge
नहीं
was
है ना.
playing.
Sorry,
Only the
उसका
talent.
उसका वो भी.
उसका वो भी
Only
नहीं है.
the
तो वो
talent.
ऐसे ही आ गया वो बस. वो घर वालों को भेज दिया. भाई तुम सब चले जाओ. मैं बाद में आता. But Rohit, yaar, he reminded me of my school team captain, right? So there was this guy, right, who will continuously miss catches. He'll score like ducks after ducks, but happen to be close to the physical education teacher,
तो
whatever,
तू
right?
जैशा का क्लासमेट है तू?
Yeah, and then the moment somebody else in the team, drops a catch or misfields, वो भागते हुए जाएगा और उसको गाली देगा. Rohit was doing exactly that. Like he was dropping catches after catches, taking blunderous captaincy calls sometimes.
Did he
They
drop
didn't
any
even
catches
turn up.
today? Did he
Yeah,
drop any
yeah.
catch?
Yeah.
अच्छा मैंने
भाई,
He was
clearly
standing
watched the
slipped.
game.
तुम किधर थे? किधर थे?
And he
But-
was also shouting at Siraj saying, use your brains.
that I
Use
saw.
your brains.
Yeah.
वो खुद सो रहा था पूरा मैच. बैटिंग भी सोते सोते आउट हो गया. और गाली देने में एक पैसे नहीं पीछे हटा वो. Like he was on point. Like सिराज, तुम्हारा दिमाग किधर है? सिराज श्रीवास्तव, आप किधर थे अभी तक? आप किधर आए? Like Rohit was hilarious, but I think Rohit was staying true to the entire ceremony in itself. Yes, no one has started playing. I think every team is just figuring it out कि खेलना भी है कि नहीं है, चलने देना है कि चलने देते हैं. I think that's where every team is currently ranging at in terms of their interest level with this World Cup.
In Rohit's defense, he survived the opening over from a left-arm fast bowler. So you got to give him that, which is more than he normally
yeah.
does.
Yeah.
No,
Pat
please
said
come in.
deflect.
Pat said deflect.
हुआ था
Out तो
शायद.
हुआ नहीं, out तो नहीं हुआ.
हाँ, बच गया.
So Prashant made a prescient observation or a connection between, not prescient, a very perspicacious connection between today's match, India v Australia, and India versus West Indies from the 1996 World Cup. In fact, Sri Lanka versus South Africa also reminded some people of Sri Lanka versus India that was played at Kotla in the 1996 World Cup as well, because you had Sri Lanka's openers going bang bang.
Actually, also the Sri Lanka Kenya game in '96 in Kandy, where again they scored like some crazy, something like that.
398, which was the older record. Yes.
Yeah.
But Prashant,
actually,
are you enjoying this World Cup? Did you enjoy today's match?
No,
pitch?
No, so surprisingly, I actually think that ODIs have become more interesting now, in the sense that the range of scores in which you can have a good. So we grew up in an era where the ODI was largely formulaic, right? I mean, you played a certain way in the first few overs, and then you did something in the middle, and then you slogged at the end. and whoever won. But the template was the same. The formula was the same. Now, because of the sheer range of scores at which you're getting close results, you can get a close result at 150, you can get a close result at 400. So basically, the formula has gone out of the window, and hardly anyone is playing ODIs anymore. So it's almost as if teams are kind of figuring out the format itself in this tournament. Nobody knows what a par score is anymore. Nobody knows what to do actually. So in that sense, it is actually more interesting. This World Cup and the World Cup before this have probably been more interesting that way, simply because of the range of scores.
Yeah, I fully agree. People don't know what par scores are, no? Especially that point. I'm reminded of times when MS Dhoni was still around, right? Playing international cricket, because he would tell you exactly on this pitch 237 odd is a par plus score. How is that odd? That is already odd. Like you can't do 237 odd.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I actually enjoyed Sri Lanka versus South Africa.
As opposed to MS Dhoni, like some teams like South Africa and Afghanistan don't even know what the par score is after the other team gets covered.
Correct.
The range there is also pretty.
The World Cup is only getting started for South Africa, indeed. Yeah. No, but I fully agree. At least these last two games, the range of action that you've seen, right? You had South Africa scoring 3 centuries in the same innings. I think it's the first time it's happening in a World Cup game. And Aiden Markram's hitting was something else, as was Kushal Mendes in that chase. And then you had India recovering from 3 ducks in the top order, winning a game. The only other time I recall that happening is also involving India when Pakistan overcame Irfan Pathan's first over hat-trick to win that Karachi test. It's very unusual to do that in a World Cup, but today's pitch at Chepauk had something for literally everybody, right? You had amazing fast bowling, spin, and some great batting. And you can't credit the pitch for it, but also some very good fielding, especially from India, right? Ishan Kishan was excellent in the outfield. I think the only thing he contributed was fielding. And Kohli taking a great catch to dismiss Mitch Marsh, who did not return the favor at slip.
If you can,
diving towards the keeper, not to his right. And Mitch Marsh, unfortunately for Australia, did not return the favor, putting down the catch, which probably cost the game, much like Courtney Brown's dropped catch of Sachin Tendulkar in '96. So PDP, you pointed out that analogy. So
no, I mean this pitch, I really enjoyed the game because of the pitch. Simply because the best practitioners of whatever art managed to show their stuff on this pitch. So you had
saying Ashwin is not the best practitioner of spin, is what you're trying to say. Say it.
So what is the score for this particular episode? How many minutes have we gone without mentioning?
I think we already mentioned. I said marble mosquito like 15 minutes back, but yeah, good catch of the second reference over.
Amazing. But no other listener has caught this, but Prashant, but okay.
I mean, what are you talking, guys? This is the best fifth bowler performance of the World Cup thus far.
Best fifth bowler performance. No one knows who the other fifth bowlers were.
Bowled by a fifth
who
bowler
were the other fifth bowlers?
Isko naam ya.
No, go on.
This is the maximum number of maidens bowled by a fifth bowler in the World Cup for the first 5 games so far.
Wait, how many maidens did Ashwin bowl?
No, hang on, he was.
I thought it's 0. He bowled 1 at least, and okay.
He bowled 1. I think it was the last over, but just to correct you, Max, Ashwin bowled.
He was
4th,
not
fifth.
No, yeah, exactly. He was not the fifth bowler.
Fifth bowler doesn't mean bowler who comes on fifth. Fifth bowler means who is from his awkaat becomes the fifth most.
Who is the fifth bowler of the team?
Not you were introduced fifth into the attack. Apni bata Muralitharan was often introduced after Dhamsena. What will you say? What is this?
So what is the pecking order, Nitin? It's Bumrah, Siraj, Kuldeep, and then
you give Tony half a chance to drop Ashwin from any team, he will pounce on.
No, I'm just asking. In this categorization
before the Border Gavaskar Trophy, before even the Indian board and Australian board had discussed logistics for the Albo Mobile and for everything else around that series, Tony had declared that Ravichandran Ashwin should not be selected for a test match at home in India. So let it not be forgotten.
Oh.
Tell. Yeah, pecking order, huh? Shardul Thakur, number 1.
Anyway, Max, tell us why this is the best fifth bowler
Yeah,
performance.
please explain very closely. Yeah.
No, I mean, he came out with figures less than the run rate of the game. So that itself is a win.
So it is a par plus performance, basically.
Yeah, plus I
And
think every time.
what more do you expect from your fifth bowler?
Yeah. Yeah, plus every time Ashwin put pressure on the other end is when, wickets came on.
The wickets.
Kuldeep, yeah. Kuldeep and Jadeja were able to take wickets just because of Ashwin. It was planned. Ashwin put pressure and then, they will try and attack Jadeja because obviously no one can take any risk against Ashwin. He's such an amazing bowler, right? You cannot take any risk against him. That's how Jadeja and Kuldeep got wickets. All of these, if we were doing marketing, and if this was like paid advertising,
Attribution. It's all last click attribution.
yeah, last click, restricted last click attribution to Ashwin. All 10 wickets, some way or the other.
No, Ashwin was introduced very early into the attack. I think within the first 10 overs itself, right? He came on. Hardik
Get the
came
ball,
on.
Ash.
Get the ball,
Yeah.
Ash. The ball was actually not spinning that much when he came on. It evidently, but there were a few balls were stopping and bouncing a little extra even early on when he was bowling. But definitely spun more as the game went on, right? Like by the time Jadeja came on, the ball actually started turning quite a bit, and that's when India started taking wickets from both ends.
No,
And
it
even
was
Ashwin,
before that. Jadeja was able to turn the ball because Ashwin maintained the ball really well. And Ashwin started attacking even before the match started. YouTube, press conferences, everywhere. He was attacking. He was on all on attack.
There was also net practice, no, where he was hitting sixes and all.
Yeah.
Like he was playing very high.
Yeah, he was attacking there. Yeah.
Late cut for six and all he was doing, like Gunda
I think Iman has to reveal this. Basically, Zampa was ineffective today because he swam into the swimming pool step yesterday, right? Like clearly Ashwin had something to do with that.
Yeah, he was attacking there as well.
But on that note, what is this thing with swimming pools and Australian cricketers coming to the subcontinent? Because we all know Alex Carey fell into a swimming pool accidentally in Pakistan. And now Adam Zampa, who was, I think, the opposite of what happened to Achilles after being dipped into the river Styx, happened to Adam Zampa because he bowled absolute trash today and got smashed around by KL Rahul. But why can't these guys just stay away from pools, man? Like, what's the funda with these people? Say something that, hey.
Also, wait, wasn't Nitin who was hyping up Adam Zampa after that ODI that happened in March?
I don't remember that ODI in March.
Samir Mohan, but okay.
Many people.
I definitely expected
a lot of people were.
I continue to expect Adam Zampa to be a huge factor in this.
Probably
World Cup,
Marcus Stoinis. I think what is Zampa's record when Stoinis is not in the team? This is important.
Josh Hazelwood, you only have to tell us, please. Iman Pande, interesting it seems.
Interesting question.
What was interesting?
Question is interesting.
He's developing a new analytics model as we speak. Cover.
The question interesting है. मुझे तो लगता है कि ज़ैम्पा को स्विमिंग पूल पे कुछ नहीं हुआ. स्टॉइनिस ने बोला मैं नहीं खेल सकता. भाई फ्रस्ट्रेशन अंदर है. तू चल. ज़ैम्पा इंजर हो गया बॉस.
Okay.
तो काफी नहीं going back to the point, right? So people in the group, right, they were like, absolutely going hungo about Zampa. क्या Zampa ये तो next मुझे तो बीच पे लगा ये Zampa को शेन वॉर्न बन गया क्या? फिर देखा नहीं वो Zampa ही है अभी भी. ऐसा चालू हो गया. हाँ मतलब it was crazy. People were like, boss Zampa तो एकदम ना घुमा देगा चेन्नई में. हम सब मर जाएंगे ज़ैम्पा का स्पिन खेल खेल के. ना पीपल फिर आज जाके देखा उसका बॉलिंग बॉस. उसका दिमाग कहीं और था. He was just not playing boss. उसको like poor guy. I'm sure he would have gotten hit, but yeah, he was just not there for he just couldn't play, and he just couldn't play at all. ऐसा था मतलब
No, so I
US
mean,
side.
there were a bunch of people who were suggesting that dew could have been a factor, that he was not able to grip the ball, that he was not able to therefore get enough revs on the ball. But for whatever reason, you cannot afford to have a weak link in your bowling attack when you're defending 200. I mean, it's just not going to happen. You can't afford any of your bowlers to have an off day for whatever reason.
All credit to Ashwin, man. He kept the dew away when India were bowling. Because he has
Yeah.
local knowledge. Yeah, local knowledge.
Yeah.
That kind of knowledge he's having.
That kind of knowledge. Yeah.
But today's game was a little weird, no? Because you assume that the ball will do something in the first 10 overs when it's new and stuff like that. But at one point, I think Australia was 74 for 1 in 16.2 overs before they started like collapsing in a heap. But India like lost wickets at the start, and then like once the first star over was done, they were pretty much okay.
That's a great observation. The new ball definitely seemed to do more under lights, or maybe it had to do with the skill of Australia's new ball attack. Whatever it was definitely swinging more.
Sea breeze.
Yes.
You watch tomorrow's Kutti story.
Marina doctor.
When they doctor.
Not doctor.
When they remodeled the
it is the Marina RMP.
Yeah. Because Marina otherwise it used to be a concrete jungle inside that ground where the air is very still and humidity goes to 120%. But now the breeze comes in like every time. I was so surprised to hear the story being rehashed as if it is a new story today when Dinesh Karthik and Ravi Shastri were on commentary. Like, come on, guys. Like, come up with new stories for Chennai. What is this?
Yeah. Australia's bowlers were swinging. So was Ishkish and our good old Shreyas Iyer. They also came out swinging. So दोनों का swing, जिसका swing लगे जो आगे का, right किसी का नहीं लगा, दोनों चले गए पीछे. Right? Yeah, boss. Ishkish was crazy. Both of them were swinging like two. Ishkish was like boss start two होगा, तू आजा मेरे मैदान पे. बॉल डाल जहाँ भी मैं तो बैट भागेगा बेटा आज. बस पहला बॉल. Same with Shreyas Iyer. होगा तू हेजलवुड अपने मैदान पे.
But just to rewind it a little bit and throw it to PDP, I think PDP, Warner and Smith were going pretty well, no? Like it didn't seem like they were under trouble at all.
Yeah.
What is your analysis? What happened? Like why did Australia end up with just 199?
No, actually, I thought Steve,
you perform. What is happened?
Please place it in.
BPL all match your perform this happening. Final match your perform this happening.
Final match I perform?
Final match your perform.
I'm happy, obviously.
Final match your perform. What happening?
Huh?
Final match your perform. What happening?
What do you mean?
Final match your perform. Satisfied?
Yeah.
What happening?
What is happened? What is
PDP is just having flashbacks to justifiably judge. Hey. Hey, justify the Jajodia that was Australia's batting there. Like what happened?
What has happened?
Why did they collapse? What happened?
No, so I mean, I thought Steve Smith actually started off very, very fluently. And he looked in really good touch. And I think actually the guy who's kind of started slowing things down was Kuldeep for India. He picked up 2 wickets today. But I thought before Jadeja came on, I thought Kuldeep did an amazing job. And this kind of broke the rhythm with which Warner and Smith were batting. And this is instantly the best I've seen Warner bat across formats. I mean, I know he batted decently in that 3-match series, but I mean, I'm not sure how seriously that series was played. But I mean, this is the best I've seen him bat in a long time. I mean, he looked really fluent and he looked quite comfortable against spin and pace both until he got out.
Yeah,
there is a Warner 100 coming. There is a Warner 100 coming.
Netherlands watching.
Max, you were just chugging some kerosene before you said this. Like, what is
chugging? forget checking kerosene. Just because Tony is on the pod, we will not talk about the New Zealand game or what? Like, how many more minutes do we have to go without talking about this New Zealand game? The first game of the tournament.
Bring it. Come on.
And again, yes, they were both finalists and all that. You expect to be on paper it's a close game, but everyone right now were expecting England to win that game. Okay, and the moment they scored 290 or whatever, Root makes a century. Root makes half century. We think, okay, the world is back in order. This is going to happen. These guys don't even have Kane Williamson in the team. And then, Tony, why are we not talking about this? What happened after that? That chase, that New Zealand chase. So, like, it is not a secret on the pod that my dad is a very huge English fan, and for this World Cup, he has actually traveled. He's here, which doesn't make sense. Instead of watching the games in India, he's now here. So
wait, he's traveled from India to the US during the World Cup.
Yes,
because he's a fan of cricket.
It was easier to get those tickets than match tickets.
It's easier to get a
Willow
Emirates
TV
ticket than tickets to Chepak.
US visa
Hashtag
Yeah, Willow TV.
US visa is easier to get. ES visa is easier to get.
Jar won't testifies. Okay, anyway. Yeah.
So, but that morning, he did not come down. The TV was on full blast. I had amped up the volume completely because my wife was like, why is the TV so loud? The neighbors can hear it. But the man did not come down. He was in the bedroom. He was checking on his cricket info on his phone. He did not come down. And after that, I think he was forced to come down because he wanted breakfast. By then, Rachin was, I think, close to his century or almost, got a century. Yeah, but what a game that was. Like, you would not expect that. Again, yeah, I mean, Rachin had scored 97, I think, right, in one of the warm-up games.
Hyderabad. But who watched the match? No one saw it. They could have written.
Even this match, nobody watched. Nobody came.
No, but Max, the really cool thing about that game was that England is supposed to be batting is supposed to be their strength and bowling is supposed to be their weakness, and they lost to a team that played with just 3 bowlers. It's bonkers. New Zealand got 50 overs with just 3 specialist bowlers, and they still beat England. So yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's that exact flip, right? Because England says, okay, you know what, we will bat you out of the game. You score 320, we'll chase 320. You put us in, we will score 350. No matter what, we are not going to talk in 200 level numbers. We will only talk in 300 plus numbers.
Yeah.
We'll either bat you out or score so much that you will just exasperate trying to chase.
Yeah.
And New Zealand is the opposite, right? New Zealand is like, okay, we will play within our resources. We will try to do whatever the best we can, and we will somehow try to get over the edge.
Yeah.
The opposite of that happens. England is batting. They somehow make 290, and then New Zealand is free spirited in their bat. They don't have Kane Williamson. They are chasing, opening game of the World Cup.
Yeah.
And these two guys, Conway at the Namo Stadium. We've seen this at earlier in the year as well, that he was the player of the match for the IPL final as well. But I did not expect Rachin to go the way he went. That was actually the biggest surprise. I was thinking, okay, he'll see off the new ball, probably get a few hits, and then Mitchell and Phillips and these guys would have to take the game through. But some of those shots he hit, like Conway is like the Gill level. So if you look, I've been calling this like the new Fab Four of Conway, Gill, Brook, and that's the new.
Who's the fourth? You need 4. Are they so good? 1.33 each of them is worth. Who's the fourth name? You only mentioned 3.
No.
And put someone. Lichon.
Imam is my fourth. Imam is my fourth.
Imam has been around for like 5 years already. No, only you're putting him in Fab.
Conway is 30, I think 29 or something like that, but that doesn't mean. But yeah, I mean that Rachin innings. Some of those games I watched, I had to leave for work, but then came back and watched the replay as well. I was thanks to we having the full replay, but those shots were sublime, and one of those inside out shots he hit. And the worst thing for England was, like England, like Australia, has taken a huge gamble going into the World Cup. They're going in with just one proper spinner in Adil, and just like how these guys have gone with one proper spinner. And both these guys in both their opening games have forgotten to show up. So they only have the one lone spinner, and both of them had a very off day. And surprisingly, Mark Wood was even more off color in that game. So I think that's what contributed to New Zealand's win. And with 2 points, with 2.0 as their net run rate, it's insane now. The amount of catch up anyone have to do if there are any more rain games or Garba based cancellations in the tournament.
No, but I mean, it's the opposite, right? Like at the risk of letting New Zealand progress further in the tournament than they should because of my jinxing. Here's New Zealand's situation, right? They basically have a squad of 15, and like 4 of their players were not fit for the first match. Like Kane Williamson was injured, Lockie was injured, Ish Soni was injured.
This is how Kolkata Knight Riders shows up for IPL normally. They'll have like 8 players or something for the first 2-3 games.
No, but
the
thing
overseas
is,
players and all
that the format of this World Cup is such that you have like 9 freaking rounds, right? And like you are running the risk of like having a couple of injuries picked up around the 4th or 5th round, right? And that is the real problem for New Zealand, because if they have like one more player out, that's it, like pretty much gone, right? Everyone's excited about the prospect of Kane Williamson coming in and probably like Rachin Ravindra slotting in ahead of Will Young, because where else can he play? He can't bowl. I mean, in the words of Arun Lal, everything he bowls is a rank long hop. It's atrocious watching Rachin bowling. And Glenn Phillips, who apparently
one sec. Arun Lal was on commentary for this game.
Like rank long hop is like Arun Lal's
that's his
catchphrase, like tracer bullet for Ravi Shastri. But anyway, Glenn Phillips, who's like a freak of nature, who apparently cannot keep anymore because he's got like a chronic back injury, has learned to bowl off spin, and like suddenly like he's taking wickets of England, which is like another
New Zealand has 4 players that can keep. There is Tom Latham, Devon Conway, Daryl Mitchell, and Glenn Phillips.
This is okay. India went into 2019 like this only. We had Dinesh Karthik, MS Dhoni, Rishabh Pant, and KL Rahul, I'm guessing. Did KL Rahul play 2019?
Yeah, of course he did.
Hey, Pada. It's an all-wicket ratio.
So basically, New Zealand have 4 wicket keepers and 3 bowlers. That is all the makings of a great world-beating team. I frankly think England, they lost that game.
No, so just to underscore my point, there are 9 rounds to go. Like, don't read anything into the first round of it. But interesting results. Sorry, Nitin.
Yeah, let's remember also that England lost 3 games in the last World Cup against teams you would have expected them to defeat, and still ended up winning the tournament. They didn't even win the final. They still won the tournament. So there you go. Can't read too much. Same format. So yeah, early days yet. But still good news though for New Zealand, South Africa, and India, because they won against tougher opponents and would expect to win games against weaker opponents going forward.
By the way, that Rachin Ravindra, I saw him batting that way for the first time in that practice match against Pakistan. And he played a very similar...
watch the match there? Don't.
Yeah, they did. He actually was, he was
only giving bandobast for that match.
I was like, I initially thought, looking at his first 1 or 2 shots, कि यार ये तो कोई नया pinch hitter आया है, धोके चला जाएगा. Boss, he kept on hitting those Pakistani simmers, like and Pakistani seam bowling even without Naseem Saad, they still have a decent pace attack. But boss, he hit them. He was hitting like every bowler who was coming on. Obviously, that was a practice match. And he played a very similar innings in the England match. So he just went on. So wasn't surprised. But at the Pakistan match, I was extremely surprised. Like, boss, I knew as a like general bowler roaming around here and there. ये क्या हो गया इसको अचानक से? Like very similar to how Mehdi has started playing for Bangladesh. Suddenly from nowhere he has become a full.
Just to bring the Srinath Simpath corner of this podcast. You should know that Rachin Ravindra doesn't bat at 7 for his whatever domestic side. He bats at number 1 or number 2. And his opening partner is Devon Conway. So
that domestic side is only New Zealand, right?
No, it's basically Devon Conway, Rachin Ravindra, and 9 sheep. So they have the same number of bowlers as this New Zealand side as well, the domestic team. But anyway, he's actually an opening batter apparently. So this is not like a new discovery or whatever.
Excellent. I think we've spoken more about this match than it deserves. So let us quickly move to our favorite ground, Dharamshala, and focus on the fungus and the grass that has refused to grow. I don't know. I didn't watch a ball of that match because I did not know that there was a match suddenly out of nowhere, suddenly. So normally when we
wait, Nitin Sundar, is this some like wow that you've taken? Like you'll never watch anything that happens in Dharamshala ever again.
Voting with my eyes.
Dharamshala.
No,
Dhritarashtra of Dharamshala. I shall not see anything.
No, I'm one of Gandhi's 3 monkeys when it comes to Dharamshala. No, the reality is this. So whenever these multi-team tournaments happen these days, there will be some Entu Patani, mostly it'll be Max Da Vinci or it'll be someone else from one of my other groups. Hey, Macha, let's put fantasy this time. We'll play. And there is also this, when you create a fantasy league, you can invite your friends and it gives one very, think you can beat me, that kind of one very good CTA is given, right? Which is like high conversion CTA. So with that, Max sent one link on that group. I'm like, what does this fellow think? Of course I can beat him. So I created a team. Normally, I stop maintaining the team around 4 or 5 days into the tournament because I suddenly forget to make changes for one match. This time, I broke my own record on the second day of the tournament. I have already stopped because I didn't know that there was a day match on the second day of the tournament. I'm suddenly opening my phone and how well I'm watching this World Cup comes to the fore now because that match that I did not, no, it was that match only. Bangladesh versus Afghanistan, no, correct. So I wake up, I open Cricket for randomly at about 9 a.m. my time and it's already middle overs. So 30 overs have been bowled in that match. I'm like, okay, thank you. Retiring from fantasy cricket. So I did not watch a single ball of
two
that
things
match.
I want to say here. One is that I usually summon up enthusiasm for fantasy leagues so that I can track the cricket because I'm part of the fantasy
should be
league.
the
I
other way
start
around.
watching. Yeah, I know. I agree. But then I could summon up Enthu for this only 30 minutes before the first match started, England versus New Zealand. But
that's around the time ticket sales started, by the way. So perfect.
Exactly. Like all things related to this World Cup, basically they couldn't save my team before the start of the fantasy league, so I gave up. But there is apparently an official league for bits and pieces and our group. We will put the link in the show notes. I'm sure Max Da Vinci is leading, but why not go and have this thing there? The second thing I wanted to say was there is a potential spin-off of bits and pieces as a digital marketing podcast. We've discussed Google Dance in a previous episode. Iman Pande has come in with attribution modeling, and Nitin Sundar, what did he just mention? Something that triggered something. I forgot. CTA, yeah, high conversion CTA. So watch out for the digital marketing spin-off of the Bits and Pieces podcast. It'll probably add the same value to your life as this one, but who knows?
Hello and welcome to Bits and Pieces, the podcast where country brutes talk about attributes.
Nitin, you were talking about the Delhi ground, right? Of how the facilities have been nice and so on. The exact opposite of that has been the Hyderabad ground, with the pictures and videos that have been coming out of the internet. And the worst for me actually was that scoreboard, which even like when we play, at club level here, we have a much better scorecard than the one they had. The one they had looked like one of those things I made for my younger kid when I was teaching her numbers. We had this Velcro board and we cut out numbers with scissors, and then we gave it to her and she would stick numbers of 1, 2, 3 on the board. That's how that scoreboard looked like. It was not even one of those old days scoreboards where you have this wheel and the numbers will be on the wheel and it show up. They were just pasting things on a Velcro board and saying this is the score.
No,
it's the World Cup, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
I think it's the same Hyderabad board only that actually it's a massive traditional scoreboard, right? And you have human beings behind each pixel or each digit rather on that scoreboard. So you have a huge thing where name by name is written and numbers. Each character on that scoreboard is operated by a real human character who's standing behind. And you can see them through the hole sometimes. They are actually changing the numbers as the score ticks around and all. Yeah. So that Hyderabad ground, there was some local journalist, right, who was there for the practice game. I think Pakistan versus New Zealand practice game, right, the one that you spoke about. And he posted pictures of seats that were been fully shat upon by Glenn Magrano, by actual pigeons. And that tweet, of course, went viral. And then I don't know, maybe somebody threatened to remove his accreditation or something. That same person, like later in the evening, posted, "Oh no, that was just 2 or 3 seats that had pigeon shit on them. Otherwise, it was all good. It's a match, and we should encourage whatever." He posted that. And then someone else, by then, other people in the ground also posted photos of, that ground having all kinds of pigeon shit. Was that a practice game or the actual game? One of the games, I don't know. Because the practice game was
The
held behind closed
pigeon
doors.
shit was
right?
at the
Yeah.
practice game.
Second
scorecard thing was at the real game, the one they had with
Correct.
Netherlands.
And in the real game, there were fans who again posted more pictures of seats with pigeon shit. And also at the Namo Stadium, the same thing happened in the opening game where there were multiple seats that had pigeon shits. The funny thing is, the colors of those seats that had pigeon shit on them, and Iman, you would know, I tweeted about this also. The colors of those seats, right, are saffron and blue, which match with the colors of the mascots, Blaze and Tonk of the ICC Cricket World Cup. So there's some kind of branding activity that is going on, which also, by the way, is the color of the jerseys that India wears when they're playing nowadays, which is...
Are we sure it's Blaze or Blase, which is a kind of attitude that ICC has to this?
Yeah, absolutely. Blaze and Tonk.
Well, they're finally putting the whole thing when we've been saying about these mascots. They've been really shitty mascots, so they're just coming through now.
Yeah. But actually, Kotla and Chepak, at least whatever we have heard so far, I don't know if this is manufactured PR or real PR, but the general consensus is that the experience has been fairly decent for people who manage to get into the ground after getting tickets at these two grounds. Which again begs the question:
Didn't
why
Ashwin
don't the
do
big
an
venues get a
interview
big
with
game?
the? Sorry, no. Didn't Ashwin do an interview with the secretary?
There is no
of
one that
the...
Ashwin has not done an interview with, by the way. Even before you
Yeah,
complete
yeah.
that question, let me tell you.
No, but one of
possible
them, I
interview.
think he was talking to the guy, and he said that they have RO water throughout the stadium. So very similar to what we're hearing about Delhi. So maybe this is the thing across.
That was Kent County in England.
No, that was Ashwin misheard, right? They said, "Yaro water எடுத்துட்டு வந்தாங்களா உள்ள allow பண்ணல." So he said RO water. Yeah. They are targeting the audience with arrows and RO. Okay, anyway, go on.
But clearly, I mean, I think it has been a pretty boring week for the World Cup.
I don't agree, man.
I don't think so at all.
Cricket has been fine. I actually feel it is actually, from a cricket perspective, dude, India versus Australia, today's game was a wonderful game. Like you generally don't. You very rarely get games of this quality.
नितिन सुंदर पलटा है रे बाबा ये पलटी मारा है अचानक से
needle in banana. But wait, let me just say, because Hank sir keeps asking me, what do you bring to the table to this podcast? And in fact, I bring the table, right? And let me tell you, I am saying it's been a boring week because 5 matches have ended and India has apparently had the worst win or least one-sided win out of all the 5 matches. And are sitting only at an NRR of plus 0.833 as opposed to the 4th place team, which is plus 1.4. So you can imagine how one-sided the other matches have been. So purely from I haven't watched any of the matches clearly.
Today's match was, I don't care what the margin of the result says. Today's match was not one-sided.
It was a contest.
India lost first three wickets for a duck, man. Like you cannot have a one-sided match by definition after that. If that team ends up winning the game, it is not a one-sided game. You can't just look at the end result. Yeah.
No, and also even Netherlands against Pakistan, they were in the chase for a while, boss. I mean, they didn't roll over and die at all. I mean, when Vikramjit and Dilide were batting, they were
in the lead for.
Oh my God!
Actually, we expected far more from
Max is going to get up and run away because Max got out. Okay, anyway, go on. Sorry.
Sahi hai.
No, but you're right. That
Netherlands was basically discounting the due factor and all because dar ke aage Vikram jeet hai.
Correct. Sahi hai.
Maybe Netherlands are invited for this World Cup because of the color of their jersey. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Uh, hashtag NIB. No, I was just saying
Hey,
कि
day, it is NED. Da. Okay.
NED. Okay, sir, NED. No, so I was just saying कि the tournament. See, the last 5 matches में से ideally the New Zealand versus England match would have been way more exciting. वो तो एकदम one-sided हो गया. And then Bangladesh versus Afghanistan should have been exciting. वो भी one-sided हो गया. I think that is what is giving us a feeling कि यार excitement हुआ नहीं. मतलब if you generally look at the fixtures, uh, Bangladesh and Afghanistan should have been way more exciting. England, New Zealand should have been exciting, but एकदम ही one-sided matches हो गए. So and then India's match, it was supposed to be exciting, but yeah,
If this match does
patches
not
it was.
if this match didn't excite you, then one day cricket is not for
Go
you. my
to
friend.
Pakistan.
It's
Better go to
One-day match
Middle East.
कहाँ मिलेगा भाई?
No,
This was
see,
a
I
great
will.
game. I don't know what you guys are saying. Today's match
I
was
will tell
very
you,
riveting.
if after a week of cricket, I'm still remembering Sachin Tendulkar's blade commentary from the first innings of the first match, which was India versus New Zealand, where he was just giving some random comments. I feel like the action hasn't been exciting enough for you to like forget enough of
No,
these
but
things.
okay, but
As
hang
opposed
on.
to the IPL, where can you remember the match that happened 2 days before? Definitely not. Like, this is so much happening. Please. ODIs
No.
can die.
This is some double
Yeah, I know.
double ungli Hank reference
Yeah.
coming.
I
I
know.
don't know. What is it? Now say something good about Shardul also. Everything, all
Yeah.
bases covered. Literally all bases covered.
Yeah. No, Hardik should not have played today.
No, but
ideally.
yeah, exactly. If Sharul had
No.
played today, it would have been a more exciting match. Australia would have scored at
Yeah.
least 260. So,
Yeah.
like,
Correct. No, which brings me to
वो
my
हार्दिक तो
more.
I think
वो
Prashant
हार-
has been trying to say something.
No, all I'm
He's
no, all I'm
justifiably
Judge.
no, this is nowhere near justifiably Judge Oriyama.
Oh fuck! I have to raise my game. Chalo.
No, so I think I mean, if you want to define an exciting contest purely in terms of the margin of the result, I mean that is a pretty limited way of looking at it. I mean, the way I look at it is your tournament started with a team with just 3 bowlers defeating a team which is supposed to be strong in batting. You then had Netherlands staying in a chase much longer than they had any business being. And then you had a game today where the team chasing was 5 for 3 and the ball was swinging and doing things under lights. And you actually had KL Rahul saying that they had to bat like it was a test match, meaning that conditions were trying and testing. I think it's great cricket. I think cricket has been the only good thing about this World Cup, which has been a shit show otherwise.
Did you say great cricket or great
100%.
cricket?
Great.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have
yeah,
so
but
much,
Prashant,
so much
Prashant.
listenership.
तो
with
क्रिकेट
other
वर्ल्ड कप
podcasts
में
also.
क्रिकेट होना ही पड़ेगा शायद. मुझे ऐसा लगता है
फुटबॉल
क्रिकेट
अच्छा नहीं
वर्ल्ड
हो
कप में
सकता है
क्रिकेट
इसमें.
हाँ वो तो होना पड़ेगा क्रिकेट.
Bye.
At the end
No,
of the day,
also
cricket
to
is very
add to-
nice. But Prashant, I agree with you. Like the cricket has been interesting in patches. So
Hey,
I
what
mean, if
patches?
there is a way
patches?
to
The only patches
if
are
there
in
if there is a
Dharamshala
way to
outfield, right?
compress this if there is a way to compress this 50 over format into like maybe 40% like 20 overs, which is
Hey.
something
Uh,
there will be more excitement. I don't know.
Wait. This morning, if somebody told you India would be 5 for 3 and they would lose their first 3 wickets not for 1 run but for 0 runs, I'm of course
2 for
referring to
3.
2 for 3 actually, yeah. I'm referring to 2019 World Cup where they were 5 for 3 and lost their top 3 for 1 run each, and we are still wearing scarves from 2019. Some of us are wearing scarves also, but no.
Like a badge. Some
Yeah.
बोलो.
And I mean, for India to go down to literally 2 for 3 with 3 ducks and to come and win the game, today's game was not, just beggaring the point one more time and repeating it, but it was a fine game. And the reality is,
if Kohli had been caught as he should have been, then probably
they
we
would
would
have
have
lost the game
close match.
probably. Yeah. No, also our memories are short, right? I agree with you. The IPL and I would say the Instagramization of everything around us, the TikTokization of everything around us means we don't remember what boredom really was. You go back to the 2003 or the 99 World Cup or any of the World Cups back then and look at the first scorecards of the first 5 games, they would have all been, I would say, far more boring than some of these games have been, the first 5 games. And still we were very excited by watching those World Cups back then because we didn't have anything else to watch. But We said this is a World Cup, right? Which of course means it is a global tournament which matters to everybody, and it's the most the blue ribbon event of the sport and all of that. Except in cricket, it's interesting because you have three big teams, which is India, Australia, and England, which run the sport pretty much and make all the money in it. Now, for these three teams, for India, this is not the most important tournament. The IPL, of course, is the most important tournament in the Indian calendar. If you ask anybody in Australia and England, if they had to choose between the Ashes and the World Cup, they would probably choose the Ashes. So the Ashes is actually the most important tournament for them. So the World Cup is really the most important tournament for the rest of the world outside of these three countries, out of which we have invited a grand total of 6 teams to come and play this tournament. So really, it is not the most important tournament in the world for anybody anymore. I have this conspiracy theory that the BCCI is trying to purposefully undermine the World Cup to try and establish the IPL as the premium event in the annual cricketing calendar. And I think a lot of the ticketing issues and the organizational issues are just down to that.
No, it's just I think this has been clarified, right?
What are you
it's
talking?
conspiracy by the Mumbai lobby to make sure Kohli doesn't break Sachin's ODI records.
What are you talking? The only reason this tournament exists for one more rotation is so that India can win a silverware. Okay. Once India wins silverware, they will shut the format down. If India doesn't win silverware this time, then there will be one more edition of the same World Cup until India can win the silverware. India needs ICC silverware, and until that, they will try to keep ensuring that these contests happen, whether it's a Champions Trophy, whether it's T20 World Cup, whether it is, till we can get one. Then once we have got one, we will shut down that particular format of the game.
Lieutenant
Max,
Catch 22.
Yeah, Max. But Max, isn't it easier to just rename IPL as ICC's IPL? Easy हो जाएगा ना?
No, but you have to relegate some of the other tournaments such that then this becomes the only aspirational tournament in the universe.
वही वो कर रहा हूँ, वही बोल रहा हूँ मैं. ये पूरा he disagreed with what I said, and then he's saying that only I'm also saying they are relegating the ICC.
No, you said they're not interested in the World Cup. But India is very interested in the World Cup because this is their best chance at silverware.
Hey, but they won in 2011. No, why didn't they stop the tournament then? They won Champions Trophy in 2013. Why didn't they stop it then? They brought it back and lost the final.
Yeah, but there's that saying, no, never attribute to malintention what can be explained by incompetence. I think this is pure incompetence. I don't think it is.
Racer.
Sorry, yeah, there you go.
Not Wilkinson or Atkinson.
It's pure incompetence because you're hearing news that like 117 crores or something was allocated for the Hyderabad cricket ground, and it is still the way the way pictures are on social, the visuals are there for everyone to see. An insane amount of funding went to the Dharamshala ground, and the visuals are there of sand and grass flying and all that stuff. So yeah,
it's quite nice.
Just pure incompetence. I don't think
Dharamshala is looking very sleek. वो alternate way उसपे fungus और bacteria बिछा दिया है. अच्छा कलर कॉम्बिनेशन भी लगाया है, थोड़ा डार्क ग्रीन फिर लाइट ग्रीन, अच्छा कॉम्बिनेशन के साथ. It feels nice generally.
I don't know why the way Iman said that. I don't know how much of this will make the final edit. I was reminded of Salman Khan talking about Revital. He said
जिनसिंग वगैरह है
इसमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं.
मेरा फादर भी खाता है, so I thought
खाता है. हाँ
15 साल से खा रहा हूँ. कब
खा रहे हो? हाँ
अभी लॉन्च कर रहे हैं.
Revital मैं काफी सालों से खाता हूँ. मेरे फादर खाते थे. मेरे फादर ने कहा कि इसमें जिनसिंग वगैरह है, it's very good for health, so I used to have it. करीबन 15 साल हो गए जब आए Revital वाले मेरे पास. So they was like wondering, will you do it, not do it? Revital, yeah, I have it. I don't mind endorsing it. My medicine box, Revital is always there.
So we've been advised by friends who are lawyers that we should vet the shit that we say before.
This is what they told the Dharamshala outfield manager. थोड़ा पानी डाल दो, wet कर दो. वो नहीं किया, इसलिए fungus आ गया वहाँ पे.
ज्यादा वेट किया ना बाबा वो.
But impressions on the teams, like I don't think we discussed Pakistan versus Netherlands at all.
course.
Except for the fact that like Netherlands gave a good fight. I don't think we discussed Pakistan at all. I don't think it's embargo, but like did anyone watch the match?
Yeah, I
I,
generally
I
think
actually was
Pakistan
watching
will
that.
do.
Hey, one at
Go
a
on.
time, da fish market.
Go on.
One at a time, da,
No,
please.
I was saying I was watching that because it was very, it was a pretty good game, and Netherlands, not just with the bat, with the ball also, they were totally in it, and
Yeah.
they had these guys on the hook. And if you look at the point at which they lost Babar and Rizwan, you know, there
Yeah.
was a chance in the game wherein if they had Nawaz not taken it deeper, and again, this is so interesting because if you see that we have had 3 games where the tail has gone into double digits. We saw that in the England game, we saw that in the Pakistan game, and we saw that today in the Australia game as well. You've had guys like Stark, Shaheen, Wood, all of these guys taking it into double figures, which has extended all those 3 games totals. Because otherwise, without Shaheen and Roff and that I think what 15, 20 runs they put in the end,
Yeah.
that was very well heading towards a 240 kind of a game.
Yeah.
And at 240, I think Netherlands' chase would have been much more different than what it was in the where it ended. So full credit to Netherlands the way they bowled. And when Bas Delide came in and took those wickets, I was like, man, this is. I was almost contemplating not going to work that day. Like, okay, this is too exciting for me. But then
Yeah.
once Shaheen is like, okay, fine, I'll go to work and follow it up from there.
No, I mean, I agree with you, Max. Also, the thing is that is a result for Pakistan which does not reassure them in any way, in the
Yeah.
sense that
Yes.
their bowlers were a little underwhelming. None of them will. You can't say that any of them bowled at their best. Shadab looked pretty inconsistent. He bowled 6 poor overs before bowling 1 good over. And
However, this is the best Hassan Ali can bowl.
that so I mean, and it's not even like their kingpin batsman got big scores. I mean, so it is I mean, they'll take the points and they'll take the result, but I don't think they're reassured in any way. I think there's still some insecurity, uncertainty there.
Yeah. No, because
think-
this is episode 92 and we have to at some point say 92 maybe yahi hua tha, and I'll
Pehla
go
bola
Nitin
yaar,
Sundar
score.
for that stat, which was something related to I think Zimbabwe or something, like the first match that Pakistan won or lost in 92 was against Zimbabwe or some shit like that. Anyway, something that, but like one thing that I want to mention, Mayur, was that the double digits thing actually in the first match had a very interesting stat. No, like this is the first ever time in the history of men's and women's cricket in ODIs, I think, that a team has had all 11 members scoring double-digit runs, right? Which happened with England. And then Andy Saltzman tweeted it and everyone went wild. And then immediately in the next innings for New Zealand, no one scored double digits, right? Like Will Young got out for a duck and the other 2 batters scored centuries. So yeah, they were single digits and triple digits. So interesting stat.
I think Pakistan. My hunch is obviously, Shadab is not in the best of his form, but obviously he will come back somehow. I feel he will come back. Midway in the tournament, Pakistan will end up losing to either one of these, Bangladesh or Afghanistan or Sri Lanka, but they will create major upsets with one of these strong teams like South Africa, New Zealand, and they'll end up reaching the semi-finals, and that's when they get defeated with India from India.
Pakistan will give upsets. Pakistan is a strong team. Damn, what is going
No,
on?
Pakistan in its current form.
It's
In
a
its
Millions
current
team.
form,
It's a fair point.
yeah. In its current form, for example, Pakistan versus New Zealand, sorry, I won't ask you this question. Pakistan versus South Africa, right? Do you give Pakistan, given the current forms, you would say South Africa is a stronger team, but they will create some of these upsets. They'll also end up losing to either of these, Bangladesh or Afghanistan or Sri Lanka, but they'll end up reaching the semi-final, which is where they'll meet India and yeah.
If
वही
Pakistan
होने वाला है.
bat first in Chennai against Afghanistan, I don't see them beating Afghanistan spinners on this pitch if the pitch plays this way. Their fast
Yeah.
bowlers might come into the game under lights, but I don't think they'll have enough runs on the board. I don't know. Bold prediction.
Mhm.
And there's
Max
spinners
out
aren't-
हो गया.
Max चला गया.
No, so and I was saying that their spinners. I mean, spin was always their weak link, in their bowling attack. They're strong on pace. They have good batting, but I think spin is
Pace
their
is pace, yeah.
pace is
Sakleen and
pace.
Afridi crying crocodile tears listening to this. But yeah. And Mushi.
Yeah.
So what
No.
is the deal with Pakistan? They don't have a spinner at all. It's
No, they
basically Shadam and Ishmael.
Only Shadab.
Nawaz and Nawaz.
And
Shadab,
Nawaz.
Nawaz.
And
और एक
Ifty
और है
Chacha.
ना Ifty Chacha. हाँ. But yeah,
अरे वो कहा वो स्पिनर गुस्से वाला पेसर नहीं बन पाया, ज्यादा डोले बन गया तो स्पिनर बन गया उसका. गुस्से में ज्यादा डोला वोला बना दिया, या मारेगा बॉल फेंक के, भाई नहीं फेंका जा रहा तो स्पिन कर लो भाई. ये हो गया इफ्ती का. अरे उसको कौन देख के बोलेगा भाई तू स्पिनर है? मजाक लगता है यार. ये वही वाला बात है, ऐसे बॉडी बॉडी बना है, तू कैसा है भाई, ऐसे ऐसे बातें करने वाला आदमी निकल गया. हाँ मतलब नो वन वुड गिव इफ्ती का चांस, राइट? उसको तो रास्ते ही मिलेगा, वो बोलेगा भाई मैं स्पिनर हूँ, बोलेगा भाई तू साइड होना, क्या झूठ बोल रहा है. हाँ तो वही है मतलब. तो इफ्तिकार को तो क्या स्पिनर नहीं बोल सकते, कसाई कसाई बोल सकते हो एट बेस्ट. हाँ
Iftikar, I agree actually. That build, he reminds me of Yusuf Pathan. I could never understand how Yusuf Pathan bowls spin. So never turned a ball. वो build, and if you look at the way he bats, ये all-rounder है तो you will obviously assume ये तो आके medium pace करेगा. उसका बाय भी फास्ट, मतलब फास्ट नहीं है तो मीडियम पेस है, बट एटलीस्ट तो फास्ट बॉलर है. So you would expect the same of a Yusuf Pathan, something like that.
कोशिश तो करो यार, कुछ तो करो, मतलब क्या है ये.
क्या स्पिन बॉलिंग. वो build के साथ तो नहीं चलता. I agree. Yeah, I don't know why Pakistan have no spinners. It's very strange. And one team that is emerging very early days, but we've already mentioned Adil Rashid and Adam Zampa, right? They did not show up for their teams on their respective games, and it really impacted the result of those games. Pakistan have a systemic problem because they don't have a proper quality spinner. I think India probably have too many spinners.
So is New Zealand. New Zealand has Santner, Sodhi,
New
and
Zealand के
Rashid.
पास ही 3 ही बॉलर है भाई. तू बोल रहा है
भाई.
स्पिनर है.
And Phillips, they have 4 spinners.
ये makeshift wicket keeping spinner को count कर दिया तुमने. यही problem है. England, every time England try to play a shot against New Zealand, they lost a wicket. It won't happen very often, right? It was an aberration. That
As Sunil Gavaskar would say, when you take some risk, you will end up losing some wickets, right? तो सुनील गावस्कर पहले बोल चुका है ये.
तो सच ही होगा, मतलब उसने तो बोला है.
वो बोल चुका है. When you look to take some risks, you also create risks to lose your wickets. That's what Sunil Gavaskar said.
So after hitting a 6, you should always take a single.
High risk is always high returns. If you take high risk, you will return to the pavilion.
Yeah. Also, if you are looking to play a game of cricket, you should get your t-shirts tucked in properly.
Tucked in, yeah, correct.
Yeah. उसके बिना नहीं होगा.
I think one person who's like followed Sunil Gavaskar's advice to the T is KL Rahul, who I think, Nitin, you have to remind us of what happened in the final moments of today's match, which was typical KL Rahul.
No. Firstly, we have obviously mentioned this earlier in the podcast, and most people know this already, but KL Rahul's fate was decided the moment he was born. Because his parents wanted to name him
inextricably linked with Sunil Gavaskar. That was the segue.
Inexplicably linked to Sunil Gavaskar also. Because his parents wanted to name KL Rahul after Sunil Gavaskar's son. Sunil Gavaskar's son, as we all know, is Rohan Gavaskar.
No, wait.
Except
they didn't want to name. It's not like they were inspired by Rohan Gavaskar and
they were inspired by the progeny of Sunil Gavaskar. They were inspired by Sunil Gavaskar. They wanted their progeny to be as touched by divinity as Sunil Gavaskar's progeny. So they wanted to name their child Rohan. But SEO में गड़बड़ हो गई. गलत बिंग में जाके सर्च कर दिया सुनील गावस्कर का बच्चा का नाम क्या है. वहां पे आंसर राहुल था, इसीलिए राहुल नाम रखा उसका बच्चे के. Now,
Chat GPT, first mistake.
first mistake. Coincidentally, today's game, where India lost their top order for zeros, reminded some of us of India versus Zimbabwe from VB Series 2004, where India again won a game after losing their first 3 wickets for 0-0 and 1. And in that game, Rahul Dravid and Rohan Gavaskar scored important half centuries to help India win the game, alongside VVS Lakshman, who hit a century. Anyway, that's completely unrelated to the story. But KL Rahul's fate was sealed when he was wrongly named Rahul instead of Rohan, when his parents actually wanted to name him Rohan and not Rahul. But as it transpires, you need 9 runs to win the game. No, you need 9 runs to get to your 100. You need 5 runs to win the game. KL Rahul knew the math. He had to hit a 4 and a 6 in order to get to his century and to get the win. Tried to hit a 4 over extra cover, but such is the life of KL Rahul that he ended up timing the ball so well that his extra cover drive of the world's best fast bowler, Pat Cummins, ended up going for 6, ending the match and ending his day at 97 not out. No chance.
And what a celebration. What a celebration.
Head down on his knees, on his haunches, with a look of utter shock and flabbergastedness at having denied himself the chance to get to 100. A mix of sheepishness, disappointment, happiness. I don't know. It is just the perfect KL Rahul moment. I don't know how else to describe it.
The most famous Rahul, I think most Indians know, is Shah Rukh Khan, who played the eternal Basigar. This KL Rahul is won by Basigar, right? Which is 1 divided by Basigar, which is जीत के भी हारने वाले जो है उनको KL Rahul कहते हैं.
नहीं, उनको बोलता है KL Rahul.
Poor fellow has won a key match for India with a match-winning performance, outshining another 97 important in the World Cup, and also winning man of the match. But
against Australia, against the immortals of World Cup cricket. Australia has always, apart from New Zealand, Australia has been India's bugbear in World Cups. India have only beaten, including today, only 3 times they've beaten Australia in World Cups. And they only started beating Australia at World Cups in 2011. Until then, they kept losing very often by 1 run. Famously in Chennai,
so much is the fear of Australia that even today stadiums have been taken over by pigeons, right? Like Magra is still haunting the stadiums with pigeon poop.
But, so much so that people don't even come to watch. In knowledgeable Chennai crowd, so scared that you had empty stands. But yeah, नाम तो सुना होगा KL रोहन नहीं राहुल.
Must be said though that he was super fluent today, man. I mean, he was more fluent than Virat Kohli, and that's saying something. He was on a wicket that was not easy to bat on. He was actually batting with decent flow, decent rhythm.
Yeah, it was always better to be super fluent than superfluous, and unlike Gill, who has a super flu. So
yeah,
well played, Ra.
Hashtag 3,000 runs.
But PDP, KL Rahul best batter of the day across teams, including us, Flu and Smith.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, for sure.
Hands down. I think the way he took down Adam Zampa in his first
hands down only how he finished also.
Rahul was on a different plane today. A different astral plane. Astral pipes. पकड़ के astral plane में जाके क्या बैटिंग है यार, क्या मस्त. Best innings.
I also think Kohli's innings, actually, Kohli could play that innings because of Rahul.
Ashwin, this is like Ashwin attribution.
Attribution is happening here as well. Boss, Kohli was like Delhi ka hu, marunga pehla ball se. He was going on, right? Like Rahul literally calmed down the nerves. He was chill karte hain. I'll handle for some time. It felt Kohli was about to give his wickets away multiple times. So
you're right. But in Kohli's defense, I don't know if it was planned or whatever, but
his defense is weak.
His defense is weak. Kohli faced most of the balls. Kohli faced like 80% of the balls in the first, 20 minutes of their partnership, after which it became a little more even, but the ball definitely stopped doing as much as it did after that period. Somehow it felt like Kohli was taking or ended up having more of the strike when things were tough.
Yeah,
but whenever Rahul was on strike, he looked much more assured and much more certain about what he was doing than Kohli was. And yeah, fabulous innings. If he stays on in this form and Shreyas Iyer fails again, the team might consider making a change in their middle order, I feel.
No,
No,
I honestly don't think Kale should be playing at 5. He should be number 4. Like Iyer should go down to 5.
You mean Iyer should go lower?
वो तो है ही वो lower.
पहले का टाइम आ गए. Tony,
Say
you only
yes
have to
to
put
Shreyas.
closing ceremony. Oh.
Hey, I feel like PDP had important points which I had noted down.
No,
during,
man.
like Daniel Vittori, he was sitting there and like making notes throughout the pod. Come on, let it all out.
no, I'm done. So much only we can talk about the match.
The good thing is India is safe even if KL Rahul gets injured. India is safe because they have Ishan Kushan.
Nice. By the way, just saw some pictures on social media around, just to get over this joke, just saw some pictures.
Hey, don't
on
go
social
Twitter. You will
media.
again see only my tweets. You will again come
on Insta.
He's telling you
on
your
Insta.
tweets only.
No, that.
Avoid me.
He's
It's a
got-
different social network itself.
No, yeah. So I saw these pictures on Insta around Jarvo, right? And then basically Kohli basically talking to Jarvo. Guess what he would have, what could he have told him?
Ben
क्या
Stokes.
बोला होगा कोहली जार्वो को? हाँ
Ben
हाँ मतलब
Stokes.
ऐसे ही कुछ हाँ दे के उसको भगाया होगा अच्छे से कि तू होगा भाई जार्वो बहुत जगह आया होगा पर ये तो मेरा जगह है बेन स्टोक्स तू फटाफट कट ले यहाँ से जार्वो went and it was literally Kohli talking to him, no one else.
Oh, there's actual audio.
Yes, dude. No. There are visuals of Kohli talking to this guy and asking him to fuck off
Oh,
the
you are
league.
ERC कर रहे थे. हाँ, ठीक.
Correct.
Yeah.
Have you
खत्म
learned
कर दो ना
anything
joke
from the Have you learned anything from the first week of the World Cup that
Yeah,
he didn't know before?
basically, if every piece of content is much better if it is only 40% of the length, including this episode.
Superb. Yeah, the World Cup could do with an editor like Nitin Sundar or Mohan K.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Like Ashwin, he pulls his weight. All right.
Oh,
Cool.
man.
Okay. So let's wind this up.
Last point था मेरा.
हाँ, बोलो भाई.
You guys haven't
It's like
discussed Pandya.
KL Rahul's 6 after the
Like,
4 he's
Iman
kept in his
Pande.
pocket.
No, you guys,
Garlic
because
in
you
Punjab,
guys
yeah.
didn't discuss Pandya. And I'm thinking, boss, how could you not talk about Pandya in this match?
बिल्कुल. हाँ. Bring it.
क्या
No,
किया
what do you-
उसने? कुछ
वही
करके
तो
आया क्या?
मुझे लगा कि वो सर पे कफन बांध के आया है कि बॉस कुछ करेगा आज. वो कुछ भी नहीं किया.
No, he
I
gave
think,
away
uh,
some
I think
27
Australia-
runs on 3 or something, no?
Australia saw this pitch, realized that Bumrah and Siraj bowled really well with the new ball. They knew it was going to spin and it spun. I think they correctly targeted Pandya. Whenever Pandya came, they tried to take runs off him. He didn't get too many runs. He didn't do too well with the ball. But India had enough depth in the bowling. They didn't need too much of Pandya to bowl today.
Yeah.
So they got away with it. And they didn't need his batting. I don't think it's much of a comment on Pandya's skills that he got.
You
hit
know
a
who
bit
was happiest seeing Pandya spell today?
Bedex.
Shardul Thakur, who didn't get picked in the
Yeah.
side.
I don't
Shardul's
think-
like thanking his stars. कि boss.
But
Pandya,
let's be clear,
तू पिट जा.
on his worst day, Pandya's economy rate was basically an average Shardul day. At best, Shardul might have taken a wicket, bowling the same spell, conceding the same number of runs. But I don't think the team is going to read too much into Pandya's figures today, because if it was Shardul, they would have gone after Shardul the same way they went after.
Correct.
Pandya.
That's why he is happy now, because he didn't play
Yeah.
today. He didn't have to
Oh,
take the
really?
meetings.
That-
They- Hey, watch
तुम्हारा
the
late
wrong
हो गया
one.
दुबई
What is
में.
this? Carrom ball.
Cross him. I don't know what will happen only.
Nutgraph ball. Okay.
God only
Yeah.
knows what will happen.
Yeah. Because Mohan K is going to edit this, so yeah, Bedex is the best player. Shardul should come back. Shardul should come back in the team. I think Hardik has to be rested. Obviously, Ashwin cannot be rested anymore because he's having, attribution level wicket taking capabilities. He's having impact on different batsmen. opposition team, his own team, and stuff like that. So obviously, the only player who has to be made to sit out is Hardik Pandya.
सही है भाई चलो
चलो भाई पर काफी रात हो गया अभी
You know what? Like basically, this World Cup is going to go on like a K serial, right? Like it doesn't matter if we don't do this podcast for the next 8 weeks. Nothing's
Yeah.
going to change. Like literally, we'll end up with the
Oh,
same
you,
four
so you mean to
semi-finalists.
say until now we were having an impact in the real world with all our episodes?
No, I just meant you can just not watch like the next 7 rounds of the league stage. Nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to change.
That is
The only
exactly
important
why the
matches will be
BCCI is not selling tickets for this game.
They're not
Time
selling
क्यों
tickets.
क्यों टाइम वेस्ट कर रहे हो कुछ पैदा ही नहीं है घर पे बैठो
Yeah, productive
मयूर
nation,
यहाँ से
people need to go to
मयूर
work.
यहाँ से कट के वहां पे जाके ट्विटर का पोस्ट शेयर कर रहा है
Maxi
As if some Hotstar is getting bought or sold by some random guy. कुछ चल रहा है वो मयूर के दिमाग में. Anyway, cool, perfect है.
चलो
Yeah.
क्लोजिंग सेरेमनी
ठीक
डालते
है.
हैं हम that brings an end or whatever that was brings an end to episode 92 of the Bits and Pieces podcast. We did not speak about the 92 World Cup because we spent all our time talking about the first 5 games of the 2023 World Cup and not noting the fact that India managed to win the Asian Games cricket gold both in the
How did
men's
they
and
win it?
women's.
How did they win?
With the final getting rained out against Afghanistan. The final was rained out, abandoned match. India ended up winning.
But why did India win?
Actually, I don't know. It's not Super League.
Because
Much I know. They were seeded.
it was
higher.
based on seeding. It was based on seeding. I'm
India
guessing
were-
there was a Super League for the Asian Games, which we all missed.
One thing that is clear, we always believe that the Chinese will have the answers for all the problems in the world. It is clear that even the Chinese don't have a problem. So even the Chinese don't have a solution to rain when it comes to cricket because these games were, of course, held in Guangzhou, where the rain forced an abandonment of the final. But congratulations to the Indian men's
And
team.
it's not even the most notorious, infamous gold medal that India won at the Asian Games this week with the kabaddi match
Kabaddi thing.
apparently like getting called off because the umpires didn't know what to do. It's like,
But enough
entire
about the
credit.
2019 World Cup final. In about 2 months' time, when we reach the final of the 2023 World Cup, we shall reprise scenes of Kumar
Yeah.
Dharmasena awarding extra runs and Ben Stokes putting his bat, needle in banana, in places where you don't expect his bat to be. But until next time,
so we shouldn't end this podcast. We should suspend this like the kabaddi final or the
but
Asian
enough
Games
about
final.
the 2007 World Cup
2007.
final.
Oh,
Which is
did
still
you
going
see
on.
that when
Oh,
KL
my
Rahul
God.
hit the winning runs, the lights
Yeah.
went off at Chepauk.
Yeah.
And
Tribute to 2007 World Cup. As I keep telling on our WhatsApp group, there is some version of the universe in which the ghost of the dead Andrew Simons is ambling up to the crease and doubling full tosses to Chaminda Vas, who is defending them off the front foot in the darkness at where was it? Trinidad. Yeah. Where the final of the 2007 World Cup is still not over. Yes.
Nitin, your cricket fandom might be dead, but your cricket phantom is alive, which is the 2007 World Cup, which is the ghost who walks apparently. and it is still going.
Very cool. Yeah. We will put Vikram theme music.
Before
here.
we lost our other panelists, forget listeners.
As Iman and PDP yawn into the night, we will bring an
And
end
Max
to
somewhere.
Max O'Dowd has run away somewhere. Bringing an end on behalf of all our friends at the ICC, Jesha and co, who have organized a wonderful first week of the World Cup. This is Nitin, Tony, Iman, and PDP wishing you bye-bye and have a great week. From the Bits and Pieces podcast, please don't unsubscribe. Be back for a better episode next week.
And
Done.
trust Ashwin always.
Trust in Ashwin. All right, guys. Good night. Hopefully, there'll be something coherent at the end of this.